I want to introduce Sarah Bennett. She and her mom are going to speak. Her mom is Linda Fleischer, so come on up.
I wasn't going to share how nervous I am, but wow, there's a lot of people here, and I'm grateful to the foundation for giving me the opportunity to share my story with all of you. I don't know why I'm already going to cry. So what I'm going to start with is a video. I was fortunate enough to connect with a blogger who goes by Mommy Shorts. Her real name is Alana Wiles, and she was doing a series called Extraordinary Families. It was sponsored by Allstate, and I thought, what the heck, I'll give it a try and see if this will be a chance for me to share my story with everybody, hoping that I can at least touch one person and let them know that they're not alone in this. So with that, we'll start with the video and then go from there. I don't know how to do this.
I live
with
my husband Mike, our son Austin. He's your typical 3.5-year-old boy, super active from the time he gets up. By the time Austin comes downstairs is usually when I'm about to go out the door, so I at least get a chance to say goodbye to him. Mike takes him to school, and my mom and I, head into the city to the hospital for treatment. Doesn't matter how old you are, you always want your mom there. It's funny the timing of everything, because she retired 2 or 3 months prior because her father was sick, and she just felt it was the right time. She could spend time with him. He passed May 2014. A month and a half later, I'm diagnosed with cancer. I'd gone to the emergency room with pain in my abdomen and in my back. Thought maybe it was my gallbladder. MRI showed otherwise. My cancer is called cholangiocarcinoma, which is bile duct cancer. I had a liver resection, and they removed 80% of my liver, including my bile duct and gallbladder. Recovered for about 8 weeks. Then we started chemo, and I did 6 months of chemo. I finished chemo March 4th of 2015. I was considered, we don't say remission or cancer-free because it's, as they say in my world, no evidence of disease. I kept getting CAT scans every 3 months. It was showing no cancer still, everything was good. February 10th, I was told the cancer returned. It spread to my lungs. And that was a really scary time. To know that it was back, but I was prepared to do it all over again. It's a roller coaster, really. Well, that's where I'm at, on a roller coaster. Everybody says to me, you're always smiling, and I'm like, well, because it makes me feel better, it makes other people feel better. I've been doing this a long time. Yeah. Every time I stand up. So this is an injection that I'll get 27 hours after chemo. It will activate. And the purpose of this is to stimulate my bone marrow to help produce the white blood cell count. Definitely Friday morning I will be feeling it because it causes severe bone pain. My husband Mike, he works all day. He's doing manual labor. He wants to come home and relax and just unwind. I can see the dust and grime. He wants to ride his bike, and I don't have it in me to stand out there.
Hey, put it up, okay?
You see? Want a little more?
You know, when you say your vows, in sickness and in health, like who would have thought this early into our marriage we would be dealing with this, but he's never blinked an eye, never battled, he was never like, I'm not doing it, I can't help it. He'll do whatever I ask him to do, and he's a huge support, and he's such a good dad.
No, it's delicious, Mommy. I'm gonna clean up dinner.
Okay.
So good.
Put it in the stove right here.
Shucks.
My mom, Linda, but she's a huge help. She comes over, makes him breakfast, takes him to daycare, or she spends the day with him. She helps clean the house, do the dishes, makes meals. She's amazing. You know, sometimes I feel guilty having her do so much. But she says, this is what I do. I'm a mom. Seriously? Why don't you use the potty inside? When you're a parent, you find yourself saying things you never thought you'd say. Like, don't lick your shoes.
I need help.
Now,
Bedtime, we deal with the bedtime struggle just like everybody else.
No.
The manners, talking back. But he's just full of life, and his smile is infectious, and he's the reason why I'm doing everything that I'm doing, and that I'm trying so hard. You know, a lot of times people say, like, I don't know how you do it. So you could stay in your bed and be depressed and just lie down and take it. But I don't feel like I have a choice, because I still have to be his mother. And even like last night, I was so tired, but he wanted me to put him to bed. And my legs work, I can walk up the steps, I'll do it. I'm only 33, so I got a long way to go. You know, I want to be that slow person driving down the road for you to be like, hey, lady, speed it up, you know? I want to be old. Irene's day had been just about perfect. Everything on the list was almost checked off. As evening came and the sun was starting to set, I think our family is extraordinary. We've come a long way. And we got a long way to go too, though. But we can do it.
So as you can tell, Austin is my world and really makes the video. It's all him. I was very fortunate to have that opportunity. I had a film crew follow us for 2 days and go with me to treatment and all that stuff, so it was pretty cool. What the video didn't show was that I came to the conference last year for 2 reasons. 1, to connect with other patients, and 2, to educate myself that heaven forbid this came back. Little did I know that 4 days later I would get the news that it came back. So I had done a clinical trial, a phase 1 immunotherapy trial, for about 2 months. I was scanned after that to see how it was working. I failed miserably, basically. The lesion in my left side had grown, and then a new tumor had grown. And I had several really bad allergic reactions to it. So they pulled me from that. I went back onto chemo. I did Gemsys again for about 4 months. And in the meantime, I had to have a partial splenic embolization where they cut off 70% of the blood supply because my platelets just kept going down and down. And that actually helped. They're still low, but for me, they're good. So I finished chemo August 31st. I stopped just because my body couldn't tolerate anymore. I became allergic to the cisplatin, and the team met and decided to try microwave ablations. So I had 1 in September for the bigger tumor and then 1 in October. As of November 11th, I'm considered no evidence of disease for the 2nd time in 2 years. So that's huge. So from a patient perspective, I'd like to really encourage all the patients here, even caregivers, but the patients to really be open about their journey and to be vulnerable, because you never know whose life you'll touch or who will, affect yours. Sorry for crying. For all the medical professionals who are here, there's so many of you, and I like seeing that, and I love that we're all here together. And I hope that you guys take a look around and realize that we are the faces of cholangiocarcinoma, and we're the reason you guys are working so hard. And to my fellow peers, remember that statistics are numbers, and we're not numbers, and I refuse to be one. So I just hope that you all can leave the conference with making new connections and friendships and just getting a glimmer of hope, and I hope my story can help you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Sarah's mom. I really do have a name, though. It's Linda Fleischer. But yesterday hi, I'm Sarah's mom, Linda Fleischer. I never dreamed that I would be standing before you as a caregiver for someone with cholangiocarcinoma. I share the caregiving responsibilities with Mike, her husband, and he does an amazing job. As Sarah mentioned, I retired 2.5 years ago to help my mother and sister take care of my dad. Little did I know at the time that Sarah would be diagnosed 3 months later. I remember exactly where I was when I heard the news. It will be forever etched in my memory. While not significant to the world, her diagnosis was life-changing for my family and I. I traveled through the various stages of grief to revisit them time and again with each new treatment and scan results. The only thing that I can compare this to, as Matt did and Sarah has, is that roller coaster. Many times we were at the bottom looking up, riding high in the sky with the elation of good news. But mostly we rode out our days in the middle, trying to make the best of an extremely difficult situation. I remember searching fervently on the internet for guidance and information. What is cholangiocarcinoma? What are the survival rates? What are the treatment options, the side effects? How am I going to be a caregiver to an adult child? Many times, that list and that search goes on and on. The one statement I found from a blog from a mother of another adult child with cancer is that on the surface, she put her best foot forward, but underneath, she fought off absolute panic. Wow, someone I could relate to. I realized early on that I had to keep a stiff upper lip, be strong, and stay the course for Sarah's sake. After all, she was fighting this battle, not me. My role was to be her shoulder to cry on, her hand holder, her back rubber, her meal preparer, her house cleaner, note taker, driver, and playmate for Austin. I proudly took on these roles and more. After all, I am her mother. That's not to say that I didn't fall apart, scream, cry, eat and drink too much as a way to cope. I gained 15 pounds. I allowed myself a year of pity parties behind the scenes, but the reality was I could not keep going like this and be a help to everyone. My saving grace was my faith, my amazing husband David, who some of you met last year, family, friends, and the caring staff at Columbia University Medical Center in New York City. And I am going to embarrass someone right now, but Serena, could you just please stand really quickly? Just raise your hand then if you don't want to stand. Sorry. She's our oncology nurse, and she epitomizes compassionate care. So there are unsung heroes, so I just wanted to embarrass her for that. While this journey has been extremely difficult, it has not been without its blessings. There is good in the midst of the bad. It's extremely important that caregivers take care of themselves, both emotionally and physically. Caregivers need support too. I connected with Kate Tulek's mom, and Kate, would you raise your hand? Another patient here, and she and I, her mom and I, have been emailing and just finding a lot of support with each other that way, and that was one of the many blessings. I also found that it was important to follow Sarah's lead in her emotions. We were both scared and often had the same fears, but we didn't want to bring each other down. It's a hard road to navigate, but keeping the lines of communication open are critical. I am extremely proud of how Sarah has handled herself. She is amazing and has turned lemons into lemonade through the Facebook group support that she started with over 200 members from all over the world. She has helped to connect and support others fighting this battle. As we venture off into the unknown world of cholangiocarcinoma, all I can say is we've got this. Thank you.
Sarah, Linda, thank you so much for sharing that.